What's good, everybody? It's your boy EMW Figure Shelf, and today we're going to review New Japan Pro Wrestling Series 2 by Super 7. These figures come to us by Ringside Collectibles at WrestlingFigures.com. Without any further ado, our first figure will be the Time Bomb, Hiromu Takahashi. The front of the packaging shows the window of the figure, all the different accessories that it comes with the New Japan Pro Wrestling logo. And the back of the packaging shows New Japan Pro Wrestling at the top, Japanese font, Hiromu Takahashi, height, weight, where he's from, his finisher, the Time Bomb, and then his Twitter handle and a picture of Hiromu Takahashi. Accessories include an extra head, removable jacket, and 6 pairs ultimately of different types of hands. As we get a good look at the jacket, while the front has a little bit of a detail between the black outlining and the where the belt would buckle on the actual jacket part, the bummer here is that out of all of Hiromu's attires, this is the least detailed jacket that you could possibly pick for a figure. While the rest of the figure is very well detailed, the jacket is very much so missing those traits of the Time Bomb. Unfortunately, not included here is Daryl the cat. Hiromu's cat Daryl, he always comes to the ring with. One time, Bad Luck Fale ripped its head off. And, unfortunately, Super 7 were not able to get the rights to Daryl. I'm not really sure legally what happened there, but obviously we do not get Daryl here. And I don't mean to start the review out on a negative note. There's a lot of positives I'm going to get into later in this review about the other figures and everything like that. With all the improvements that Super 7 has done, unfortunately, of course, it takes away because, when you think of Hiromu, you do think of Daryl the Cat. You think of him wearing a little bit more flamboyant jackets to the ring and things like that. I will talk more about the positives about this figure, but it does leave a little bit of a bummer for a complete Hiromu Takahashi figure. But moving on to the figure, we're first going to focus on the skin tone and attire choice and things like that. So, the skin tone, I feel like, is a vast improvement over Series 1 right off the bat, just looking at it. Not even comparing the Series 1 and Series 2 together, just looking at it, the skin tone looks a lot better. I even like the little extra detail of the way they molded on wrist tape, where his right hand has a little bit more, a little less, I should say, wrist tape, while the other one goes a little bit over the forearm as well. And then you look at the attire, and, obviously the molding of it, very similar to, like a John Morrison type of figure, where, you have the belts up top, with the long tights, all designs, and then you have the little frills, which are molded. And even the details on the shoes are really nice, too, as you can see the black and pink at the bottom. But the tights themselves, they're like a black base with just all different types of characteristics, and you see like a spider web at the bottom right, or the front of the boot. You go to the back, toward the boot, you go to the back of the leg, and you see on the back of the right thigh, it's just a white background. It just says boom. Just all different, little different nuances, and a very, very vibrant attire on a black background, honestly. Just a lot of color, a lot of really cool-looking designs and things like that. It screams Hiromu, the attire choice that is. Now, the head scan, the original head scan, a little plain. I would have wanted something a little bit more, but the second head, awesome. I really do like the second head on this one with the tongue facing off the other way. I would have maybe done something a little more expressionary. I'm just a very big expression guy with my figure, likenesses. But ultimately, if you're a Hiromu fan, awesome overall. It's lacking. It honestly is, because, no Daryl. The jacket, it's a little plain, but what are you going to do? At least it's a soft goods jacket. It's not, one of those plastic ones that you get from Jazzwares or Mattel. Not knocking them, I'm just saying preference. I like soft goods much like a lot of other people do. And the second head on the Hiromu is pretty cool. It looks good. So overall, really do enjoy the Hiromu figure. Now, I will talk more about the articulation with these figures. Again, I guess a little later on, because I already went through that in Series 1. But moving on. Our next figure here, BUSHI! Front of the figure shows the window where the actual figure is, all the accessories that it comes with. New Japan logo, BUSHI at the bottom. And you turn the figure around, you see the New Japan logo, BUSHI, where a Japanese text would usually be. And then you see the height, weight, where he's from, finisher, the MX, and his Twitter handle, and a picture of BUSHI himself. Now, accessories here include ultimately 6 pairs of hands, 4 heads. Not a bad selection of accessories overall. Yeah, sure, he does wear like baseball jerseys and, you know, sometimes the LIJ shirt, but honestly, when you have a Naito figure that comes with so many cloth accessories there's no reason you can't give BUSHI one of those shirts to wear as well. And now, as you can see with the heads, one of the heads looks like a entrance mask head, which is mostly white with some black accents, some green and red at the bottom, and then looks like a red rose right above where the eyes would be. And then the 3 other heads, which would be his in-ring mask, you see one straight expression, one with the tongue out, which is tremendous, and then one with a little bit of a smirk. Really nice detailed. BUSHI does wear black, lipstick, makeup, whatever. And he also wears, and we'll get more into it with the hands. The hands actually have black nail polish on them, all of them. So very nicely well detailed there. Getting into the actual figure, again, skin tone's on point here. I really like the way the skin tone looks with these figures. And, the attire, black and white, very, simple. It makes me think of BUSHI, of course. And, you see a Japanese text on his right leg. Go to the back, it says BUSHI. And then you turn the figure around. It's like a little black design with a, red splash there. White knee pads, black boots, very simple. The arms, however, do have, it looks like, with the black and white sleeves, like these little removable black gauntlets, and then one white arm brace, armband, on the right arm, and then on the left is a black one. So, BUSHI, one of those guys, he is a LIJ member. Obviously, there are 2 people I could think of that I would also love to have in this set that I wish were very much included. Now, and also, too, I don't want to say this as a knock on BUSHI at all. I don't want to say this as a knock on anybody in the line. I'm just saying, somehow, some way, I want those other 2 figures. To say a little thing about the articulation here, it is kind of what you are going to learn to expect from these figures if you're going to collect them. They're all pinless. There's some little hindrance for certain things, but, you can do things like a forearm rotation, and, because they have these little pins that you can move the forearm around 360. Same thing with the legs, with the hips. Now, I do wish, at least with this figure, they would have somehow, some way done some type of butterfly joints where you could cross his arms to do the X pose that he normally does while he's coming to the ring, or while he's getting ready to do his finisher, which is the MX, which is a code breaker from the second rope. BUSHI's an awesome figure. All the detailing, the paint of the actual mask, the silver mask, and the repetition that they have of the other 3 heads, where they're all different scans completely, but the detail on all of them are just so uncanny identical to where when you swap the heads, it doesn't look like a different mask at all. Everything is very much, synchronized here. So, and the entrance mask is awesome as well. Obviously, they probably weren't going to do anything that replicates a LED type of red eye that he normally has been having in the last couple of years. He does like a lot of really nice like light up masks. This one was a very good one to go with. Very good attire choice for Bushi. Great job. Great execution on him. King of Darkness. Evil! Front of the packaging shows the picture of the figure. All the accessories that the figure comes with. New Japan logo. Evil. And on the back shows the New Japan logo. The Japanese text, which would say King of Darkness. Evil at the bottom. Then as we see at the bottom again, King of Darkness, Evil. Height, weight, where he's from, which is parts unknown. Finisher, Evil, which is really everything is evil. His Twitter handle, and a picture of Evil. Now, right out of the gate, obviously this figure, pretty dated. I mean, they're going for the LIJ run, which, again, I will say, you do have Naito coming with the 2 belts, the IWGP Heavyweight and the Intercontinental, which I guess they're basing this somewhat off of right before Evil turned on Naito and joined the Bullet Club, but I'm kind of happy this figure's out of date because I prefer Evil, to be honest, as a part of LIJ, and he just looks a lot better, and we'll get right into this figure and how it looks. The accessories, unbelievable. Ultimately, 6 pairs of hands, 2 heads. One is more of a straight, narrow expression. Another one has his tongue sticking out. A face mask with spikes. This tremendous sickle. This is so crazy. And a little pointy, too. And also, the a beautiful black, I guess kind of a felt robe. You know, black on the outside, purple on the inside, like a nice deep purple. Some like silver designing all on the edges here. It's even hooded. And then you have this part that's Velcro, where where you see the black cloth with the upside down cross. And of course, on the back of the jacket as well, the robe, is this little flap with with the black with purple lining with the red cross. But in order to remove this, you do have to undo the Velcro right where you see the black front here. The sides are Velcroed, as you could see there, pictured. And then I would recommend taking the head off in order to slip this off, as well as undoing, well, pulling the arms back to get the sleeves off. So a little tricky, but when you have it displayed, it looks fantastic. Now, his attire, very good on the skin tone again, but I will talk about the head in a moment. But black with like a reflective purple designing going all around his singlet. All the way around his singlet is black and purple, reflective purple. And then you see black with knee pads with like studded, like little studs all the way around. And, black boots with little purple laces kind of in there. Yeah, purple laces. And then, silver slots for the laces. Now, the head itself, the paint is a little off from the actual figure skin tone. And I say this with both heads as well. Like a little of a... the proto scan actually showed better paint for the actual faces. But, the hair is still a great job. The sculpting of it, the black hair with the, somewhat of the shaven sides. And then the dyed purple streaks going around, from the top all the way down throughout that ponytail there. But, this Evil, awesome to have. Very awesome. I mean, obviously, sure, if you have a figure Bullet Club shirt, by all means, you could throw it on them and make it somewhat of a current figure, or, you know, if you really want to, you would customize them, but at this price point that these figures are at, I'm most definitely going to keep him, and like I said before, I actually prefer him in the LIJ attire. I prefer him the way he is coming out of this. I almost forgot to mention that the upgrade that I wanted to say with the hands that you can hold a accessory with have been drastically changed, as now, as you see from the Series 1 line, anytime you had one of those hands, there was, for some reason, the seam of tape unpainted. And every one of those hands had that. There wasn't any gripping hands without tape on them that was unpainted. As you can see, this is just a regular hand now. So kudos to Super 7 clearing that up finally going forward. But any further ado, though, this figure, awesome to have Evil. Highly recommend having Evil. For everything from the accessories, from the aesthetic of the actual figure. Everything is very overall well done. Of course, there's a little things that they could have changed. The facials did look better on the prototype, but the final product, for what it's worth, with all the the gear on it, it looks tremendous on your shelf. So without any further ado, it's time for our main event. Naito Tetsuya! Much like rest of the Super 7 figures here, you see a window of the figure, the accessories that it comes with, which Naito probably has the most amount of accessories next to Evil, the New Japan logo in center, Tetsuya Naito, and as you look in the figure in the back, New Japan Pro Wrestling logo, Japanese text for his name, Tetsuya Naito, height, weight, where he's from in Tokyo, Japan, finisher, Destino, his Twitter handle, and a picture of Naito. Part 1 of the accessories seen here is 5 pairs of hands, ultimately 6, a black and red Los Ingobernables de Japón shirt, the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, unpainted, and a Naito head with molded hat. Part 2 of the accessories, as seen here, is the Naito head that it originally comes with, without a hat, the black and white Los Ingobernables de Japón shirt, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship unpainted, and the black and white Tranquilo Los Ingobernables sweatshirt / hoodie that zippers, which is very cool for these 1/12 scale figures. The material of the hoodie and the way the hoodie is set up is actually very, very nice on the actual figure. The hood itself can go over the head, as seen in the pictures, and it could go backwards, and it doesn't, pull up or anything like that. It actually settles pretty nicely on the back of the hoodie. And as you can see, it also zippers, which is really cool for an action figure. Great attention to detail there. And then, on the right sleeve, it says Los Ingobernables, Tranquilo on the back, and then it has the LIJ logo over the left side. Now we turn our attention to the attire of the figure, and it is a black shorts, like trunk shorts, with red lining on the top and around the legs there, and the tight designs you could see on each side of the leg is almost like a white hourglass with red showing the inside of the hourglass. And then toward the front of the figure on the deco there, you could see almost like a red eye, but it's kind of getting cut off from where the ball joint is of the hip. And the knee pads are very nicely detailed, with the left one being a red background with the white LIJ logo, and then a black one with red accents around it, with white font saying Tranquilo with some white accents around that. And then the boots are white with some like little like fringes, tassels, you know, like what Naito always wears. And the head, the straight head, is a pretty good likeness to him. Again, it's one of those things where these figures, they ultimately look better on the prototype, though the final product is definitely an improvement from even Series 1 figures such as like Okada, and even like Takahashi to a nice degree. Also, I like the molded on LIJ wristbands. They're red with black logos. And the skin tone for him is also very nice. Now, I will say for the facials, the head scan with the hat, tremendous. That one looks so much better, and I like that they have the eye cocked a little bit to where he could do his, his eye pose that he's made famous. Now, the big gripe here is obviously that these belts are unpainted. For a set with no belts at all, other than this figure, there's kind of no excuse. I mean, I understand there is a lot more decal going into these figures, especially with one like Hiromu, so there's a little bit of a budget, but at the same time, the last set had every single figure came with a belt, so this one, a little no excuse, so that is a little of a downer, but the figure itself, absolutely tremendous. Naito's one of my favorite wrestlers, if not my favorite wrestler in Japan right now, but as far as all time goes, definitely one of. Just his entire story, from being a babyface, winning the G1, to trying to become the next ace of New Japan, while the crowd resenting him completely, and his match against Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in Wrestle Kingdom 8, becoming the semi-main, being bumped by what would then become the main event for the Intercontinental Championship, Shinsuke Nakamura against Hiroshi Tanahashi. This led Naito to being distraught and upset, and causing an excursion process for him to go to CMLL in Mexico, joining the then new heel group Los Ingobernables, created by Rouge, also members like La Sombra, and they accepted Naito into the process, which Naito would then return from excursion into middle of 2015, going into 2016 in New Japan as a heel, which then, the rest is history, led to Los Ingobernables becoming such a beloved group, and began the process for Naito to become eventually double champion of the IWGP Heavyweight Champion and IWGP Intercontinental Champion. So just a tremendous character, everything about his demeanor, everything about his motives, everything has reason and purpose. And it's the process of long-term storytelling that really grabs you to a character like Naito. Because at the end of the day, a character like that goes through struggles is relatable to people, and it translates. So final closing thoughts on this figure. Easily the best Super 7 Japan figure there is right now, by far. Sure, there's some little gripes here and there with it, but at the point that it's at, with all the accessories it includes, like 6 hands, 2 shirts, 1 jacket, 2 heads, 2 belts, even though they're unpainted, it's a great value for the price point that they are at. Again, there's a lot of things that they could include more to make it, ultimate, no pun intended, I should say definitive, but at the same time, for Naito's very first figure in this scale, tremendous. All in all, this line has so much more potential now compared to when I first was reviewing these on the Super 7 Series 1. There were a lot of things I didn't enjoy about those figures, but I definitely put out a lot of gripes and complaints about what they had that they were doing wrong, which is now a trial and error situation, because obviously they did make some improvements. Will there be more improvements down the line? We don't know. I mean, unfortunately, right now we don't really know who's in Series 3, other than maybe Jay White of the Bullet Club. But right now, for what we got. I do recommend these if you are a Los Ingobernables fan, or a fan of New Japan, or even just a fan of Naito, or even Evil, or even Hiromu. Whoever you're a fan of, if you're going to get one or two. Personally, for me, I had to get the entire set just because I love this group. I do wish they included Shingo, Takagi at some point, and, mainly Sonata. There's an arguing point that Sonata could have outranked anybody other than Naito in this set, just by different circumstances. Evil's no longer in Bullet Club. He was in the group before Hiromu, and also Hiromu could have, at one point, maybe gotten a better jacket, or Daryl included. Sonata is a little bit more popular than Bushi, but ultimately the figure choices were great. It's just, hopefully we can get more. And that's the thing I will say next, is I definitely want to see more Japanese figures. Regardless, because I don't want to fantasy book and get too much hopes up right now, but I'm just very excited for the future of the Super 7 line, and I do hope that there's some things that they can, keep doing. Don't scale back, because the unpainted belts is definitely a scale back. I mean, of course, I already have a set of each, so it's not that big of a deal, but at the same time, if these are your first heavyweight belts, or IWGP heavyweight belts, I should say, it's a little bit of a bummer. So I wouldn't let that discourage you, though, because these are absolutely awesome figures. So let me know what you all think in the comments, and I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace!